gentlemen, welcome back, and welcome to 2017. This is the SCTV podcast for ScreeningClub.com, where we will continue to break down the latest in television entertainment for you each week. I am here with my two associates, my brother Chris. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of sick, as you can probably hear, so apologies if I'm a little off.
He's not doing great, and of course, our good friend Mike. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year. Chris, not a great way to start the new year.
Yeah.
Sounding like shit.
Yeah. But, I'm still excited, despite my voice and my demeanor.
Yeah, you certainly don't sound excited.
You don't look excited.
I am. I'm very excited for the new year. I promise.
Well, you know what? There's lots of good TV coming up very soon, and we've had a chance over our little holiday break here to watch a few different things. How have you guys been doing as far as your media consumption over these past couple weeks, the holiday season?
I haven't gotten in as much as I would have liked because, well, we were on break on the podcast. I was still working as many hours as I normally do, so didn't really feel it. But I got in a couple things that I'm excited to talk about today.
You mean you didn't use your 1 hour that we usually record?
I should have devoted it to DS or the OA that you've really been pushing.
Well, I was expecting this to be a time devoid of good television, but there were some surprises, which we'll talk about, that I didn't even think about, that kind of filled my time.
Chris is talking about the DS mid-season finale.
Yeah, what a surprise.
No, let me say something quickly about DS. So, ABC, did you guys see that they have all these holiday promos about based on binge watching? It's this cheery holiday music. Uh-huh. It's oh, you can go binge watch this show and this show. Now's the time. You have free time in the holidays. Come and binge watch. And it's these sleigh bells and happy music and showing all these clips from the show. And then it shows a clip of DS with this happy music, and it's Kiefer opening the window and watching the Capitol building explode. I'm just
happy.
Is that the clip that you want? Even if that's
I guess that is what sells the show. If they're trying to attract new eyes to it.
That's true.
But with the happy music, someone was editing that, and someone at some point said, okay, we've got the cheerful music, this is the clip that we've been given to use of DS. Can we do something? This is not working.
Maybe that person just had a sick sense of humor.
Yeah.
And, I appreciate that.
It was really because it's all these goofy ABC, all the comedies and stuff, and then just there's the U.S. Capitol building exploding right amongst all the funny clips. Anyone, you guys both enjoyed your holidays and got together with family and friends and gave thanks?
Well, a lot of that, yeah. Several Christmas parties were attended. Many gifts exchanged.
Same here. Did it family?
All that was good. Same old.
Ooh, me and Chris at our family extended family party had quite a Yankee swap. Have you ever experienced a Yankee swap?
Yeah,
Mike?
we do a Yankee swap every year.
Is your Yankee swap goofy? Oh, look, all these bad gifts.
Yeah, it ranges. Some people put a little bit more thought into it than others.
For those of you that don't know, a Yankee swap, at least in my understanding, which occurred a few days ago, everyone buys a gift, and then you pick a gift from the pile in an order.
Everyone has their set order.
Yeah, everyone has an order, but then the next person to pick can swap out their gift that they've chosen for anyone else's gift. So the last person to pick gets any gift that they want.
Did you guys not do whoever has number one gets their choice over every other gift?
That is what we did, yeah.
Number one.
Yeah. So you want number one.
And I had number two.
Oh, that's the worst one.
Yeah. And, but there was a little strategy at play because the gift to get during this, And we didn't reveal who bought any gifts, so I think we still won't. Was an ice cream maker. Okay, and this is amongst a bunch of shit gifts too. Like, I brought a shitty gift, I know personally, and there was plenty of other shit gifts there. There's an ice cream maker. This ice cream maker gets swapped around. This ice cream maker is going back and forth and back and forth. But I had number 2, as I just said. My cousin Kevin, Cousin Kev, shout out, had control of the ice cream maker. And it had already been passed around maybe 3 times. He's being very shady about it. He's trying to hide it and so on. And I received, mine was a dartboard. Didn't have any darts, but it was a dartboard.
Dartboard with no darts.
And
what kind of gift is that?
And I said, that's a Yankee swap gift. And I said, I like this dartboard, but I like to make some ice cream more. So I took the gift. But knowing this, the guy who had number 1, Uncle Fred, man already owns an ice cream maker. So it was a safe call. If I had picked another gift I wanted, maybe he would have stolen that, but he's not going to steal another ice cream maker to have 2. So I came home with the ice cream maker.
Congratulations.
What did you get in your Yankee swap?
I got a Longhorn gift card.
Dang, that's a good ass gift.
I will take it.
How much? We had nothing like that.
25. That's our limit.
That was ours too.
We've never done this because it takes a little bit more of a commitment ahead of time. But I would really love to do a Secret Santa. I think that would be.
We did that too.
I think part of gift giving at the holidays is being able to identify the person you're giving the gift to and picking out something special, specific to them. The Yankee Swap is kind of devoid of that.
Personal.
Yeah.
We do a cousin's Secret Santa. So just the cousins.
I aspire to one day do a Secret Santa. I've actually never even participated in one.
I use this website. I'll pull a Chris, and I won't say the name of the website.
Good.
But it organizes everything. So you enter everyone's name. It sends everyone an email with who they have.
So no one knows.
So no one knows. And you can also make like a wish list, just your interests and stuff like that. So it really sort of centralizes everything, and it's pretty good. So that was pretty fun. I hope all of our friends listening also had a happy holiday. I'm going to tell a quick story about an outing I made, and I feel like this is a recurring theme about our friend Tony. One day maybe we'll get him on. I don't know if the general public can handle it. To tell.
I keep trying to get him to listen to the podcast, and he keeps telling me his excuse is that he doesn't have the app.
He won't even listen.
And I say, download the app.
Or go to the website.
He goes, one day I will.
One day. Don't all phones have the ability to listen to a podcast?
But you could just go to ScreeningClub.com.
It's true.
ScreeningClub.com.
Listen to the
also,
podcast.
like, he's in close and constant contact with like all of us, so we could just like show him if he showed some interest. But anyway, as those of you that have been listening know, Tony recently moved, and he was helped by Mike here.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank Tony again for not asking me to help him to move.
It was a very, very tough day.
People were hurt.
And Tony also shared with me more details of the injury that he suffered that day. He said his shoulder came out of popped out, he said.
He was in tough shape by the end, yeah.
I've actually gotten several recounts of what happened that day. One from you, one from Tony, and now I got one from Tony's brother too. And everyone's is a little bit different, shines a little bit more light on what was truly happening. But anyway, Tony invited me over to view his new apartment, and it was, I enjoyed being there and checking it out.
Much nicer area than where he previously.
You know what? That area of
I like it.
Of Manchester is really. It reminds me a little bit of like the Greeley Park area of Nashua, like nice sort of older houses, a nice sort of thoroughfare you can run through. Then you take a left and go off that road onto where Tony's apartment is, but still it's in a nice place. Anyway, then me and Tony. He showed me the 2 locations of his TVs, and the still sort of puzzling decision to put the much larger TV in his smaller bedroom as opposed to the living room.
It's a dope TV, though.
And is it? And I saw that. And then I didn't notice, but I was told later by Tony's brother that Tony put the TV box on top of the TV stand in his bedroom. So there's like a dirty cardboard box underneath his very nice TV, for reasons that I'm sure Tony would explain if we gave him the chance. And we haven't. Then me and Tony went out to dinner, and that was a whole experience too, because Tony picked the restaurant. He's very sadistic about things like that. I mean, that makes sense to you guys. And then we came back, and I had driven, so we're parked in the front of Tony's apartment, and we're saying our goodbyes because I'm about to leave, and then he says, "Jeff, I have something I need to tell you." And then he just looks me in the eye with that classic Tony stare and very dry and straight delivery, and says, "Jeff, that was not my apartment."
My God.
And then I sat there in horror for a moment and said, "Tony, that apartment that you were just showing me around for like an hour was not yours?" And he said no, and didn't provide any further explanation on that. And then I said, "But Tony, I gestured over to the Nature Valley protein bars that were on the refrigerator in that apartment, and you said," and I quote, "those are pretty good." And then he responded, "That was a lie. I've never had one of those in my life." And
what?
And finally, and I'm sorry, this is getting this gives all of you a little taste of our friend Tony. And then the final straw was, sorry, the final straw. Tony cracks me up. The final straw was when I said, "Tony, you brought me over to the desktop computer in that apartment and brought up an Excel spreadsheet that you had clearly been working for hours on."
Right.
His league spreadsheet. And then he paused for a moment because I caught him. But then he said, "I arrived to the apartment 1 hour before you arrived and sat down at their computer and came up with that spreadsheet." And that was the end, and I never questioned it. But hopefully one day we can get Tony on the podcast, because frankly, is there anyone outside of like the actual like what we talk about on this podcast besides Tony who we talk about more? This is basically a Tony podcast when it's not a TV podcast.
He is a mystifying human being.
Yeah. He cracks me up.
A sadistic man.
Very sadistic, but very dry. His sense of humor is very dry, and it cracks me up.
Yes.
Anyway, that's my Tony story. Now me and Mike both have a Tony story, and you're the only one that doesn't have one yet, Chris. You'll have to share one next time, okay?
Yeah. All my Tony stories are secret. I have a few, but I'm not going to tell them.
That cracks me up. So we have quite a few things to get to today, so let's get right into it. I know that both of you watched Homeland, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't watch Homeland, but I'm excited for you guys to share with our viewers your
Christmas did
listeners.
really come early.
It's true.
I'm speaking as we've turned the page into 2017. I say Christmas came like 360 days early.
Santa answered our prayers.
What? Where do you guys
and delivered
about?
us
I'm confused.
Homeland 1 week earlier than expected.
Yep.
So
on video on demand.
Yeah.
So it was a surprise?
Yeah, we were not expecting to review it this week.
Which shouldn't really be that much of a surprise. Showtime does this all the time with their shows. But nonetheless, at the time, it was very happy surprise.
Yeah. So, what'd you think, Mike?
I should just plug this here. I wrote a little preview review of what I thought for the website, as well as general thoughts on Homeland in general over the course of its now 6 seasons.
And that's up on ScreeningClub.com?
Up on ScreeningClub.com.
Wonderful.
And as I said in the article, I liked it. I thought so far, so good. It's always best to take Homeland one episode at a time because really at any given moment, it could fall just radically off a cliff. But
really?
it could also like blow your mind. It's a very weird show, but it's especially difficult to judge in the first. I'd say give it like 3 or 4 episodes before you really know what you're getting into with this season, because the first few are dedicated almost entirely to just setting up the main arc of the season as well as a lot of the new characters. But what they were able to do in this one episode with the new setting in New York City, what Carrie's up to, what Saul is up to, the new president-elect, and then that young Muslim man, who I think is going to be pretty integral to the plot here. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I watched it twice. I picked up a few more things.
An hour long?
It's an hour long. I picked up a few more things that I didn't really notice the first time around. But overall, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I liked the return to the United States this season.
Yeah, we hadn't been to the United States since season 3.
3 seasons, yeah. This is my first season of Homeland watching it live.
Mm-hmm.
I binged like crazy all the other seasons. So
well, that's good. Sorry to cut you off, but that's good. It gave you less. It allowed you less time to dwell on like the really down periods.
Just pushed on through. But so when I was binging through, it didn't feel. Maybe you felt this way when you were watching it live, but this first episode and probably this entire season really feels ripped from the headlines. Like they're talking about ISIS. There's a president-elect. Yep. Seems like they were setting it up to be like, this is what's happening right now. Was that?
I thought last season was pretty ripped from the headlines, just with surveillance, and you had the leak documents.
Yeah.
So all of that felt very relevant to present day geopolitics.
Yeah.
What season is this?
6. Right?
It feels like it's been on for like longer than that to me. I just feel like I'm constantly hearing about Homeland.
Well, it wasn't on at all last year. They took a little extra time sort of gathering, preparing themselves for this season. So that sort of prolonged its life.
Sort of cool.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah. Big fan of Homeland.
What did you think of the Quinn stuff?
I was surprised to see him in such a state.
As was I, although it makes sense, considering last time we saw him, there was a serious question as to whether or not he would live.
Yeah.
There was also a question as to whether or not Carrie would smother him with a pillow in his sleep.
Yeah.
That did not happen. She's now his permanent caretaker.
The woman that you thought was going to kill someone in their sleep is a caretaker?
The twisted web.
She's now his caretaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is sort of like, in a way, I think, her own penance for herself, because she was much to blame for what happened to him last season.
His system. But there was one scene in particular. Well, earlier in the episode, they talk about how he was fine until you showed up.
I don't see how that's possible. He is far from fine.
Laying the seed for maybe he was faking, and then later on in the episode, there's a scene where it's remember doing the hold up when he's getting robbed?
Yeah.
And he's playing with the beer can, and you're like, oh, he's playing dumb, and he's gonna do some crazy move. And nope.
No.
He's just in a
He is state. So fucked up. Yeah. He went through some serious shit last season. He was tortured. He was put through some sort of poisonous gas that he inhaled for a long duration of time. He was shot.
He had serious
bled
neurological trauma.
My God!
He was in a coma that Carrie forced him out of. That really seriously set him back. But now he's suffering some deep paralysis, some cognitive impairment.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting for the character because before then he was this unstoppable force.
It's really kind of unsettling to see him in this current state. And if you really had any questions about how well he was doing, throughout. I mean, they did not shy away from showing you time after time. Like, his vision is blurred, his speech is slurred. He has trouble formulating sentences.
So this is a whole new world now. If the main character is like...
I wouldn't call him the main character.
Like,
he's
a key side character.
Very important character. But yeah, I can't imagine he will ever get back to where he was. That would really kind of strain credibility there.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see where it goes.
I do have it. One of the most annoying things from this episode that really kind of bothered me was when Saul was sitting down with that senator at the bar, and the senator says to him something like, "There's a reason we haven't had another 9/11." You remember that?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what are you talking about? You literally had another 9/11 in which the CIA building Langley was blown to smithereens.
Yeah.
Along with like 100 people, the vice president's family. Like, I would go, that's probably as close to another 9/11 as you're going to get.
Yeah.
That line made no sense. It was almost like they were just kind of erasing the history of their own show there by saying something like that.
Yeah, it's a little weird line.
That's weird.
That was kind of a weird continuity thing.
Yeah.
But overall, you guys were happy with it.
Yeah, who knows where it's going to go, but it was a good first episode.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Gotta love Claire Danes.
Gotta love Claire Danes. Gotta kind of hate Carrie. She's kind of terrible.
She's up and down.
Now, you guys have also been watching Sense8.
Yeah.
Another surprise, even though it was more well known, but a Christmas special for Sense8 of all things.
Oh, was it a Christmas special?
Yep.
It was a Christmas special, but really it was episodes 1 of 2 of season 2.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Christmas related, though.
It was. I couldn't believe how long it was.
Yeah.
I was expecting an hour. I think it was 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
I forget. I watched it a couple weeks ago.
It almost felt to me like the Wachowskis were like getting used to, since it's been so long, getting used to producing the show again. Like, let's just do this special and then we'll introduce the new.
Well, I have to correct you though. It's now just one Wachowski.
A single Wachowski.
Yeah, don't you remember one of them sort of had to step away?
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
As they sort of begin their transition.
Oh, okay. So I think Lana is probably the one staying, right? She had already transitioned.
She's already transitioned. Now another one is transitioned.
So she's the one staying. Lana is the one staying then, right?
I believe so. Yeah, the one who's already, which is Lana.
All right, cool.
Wait, this is the Matrix?
Yep.
And they're doing a TV show?
Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
know?
I have seen one episode of Sense8, but
The Matrix are doing a TV show.
I loved Sense8.
Me as well.
Thought it was such a fun, fresh show that was done at such a high degree of difficulty.
It's true.
That they were able to sort of pull that off in season 1 was really impressive, and I've been missing it. I'm glad it's back.
Yeah.
But is it like when does the season
I don't
start?
know if there's a air date, but there is a season 2.
question.
They announced a season 2, and it leaves off. There's definitely more to come. But it's been like over a year since the last season, so it was kind of hard to get back into it. There's no, like on Netflix, there's no like previously on Sense8, at least not with every episode. So you kind of have to jog your mind on to be like, oh yeah, what's this character doing? Why is this character on the run? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I had a really tough time with all the plot stuff involving almost every character, because there's just so many different characters, so many different things going on, and we've been away from the show for like 18 months, about a year and a half. So it was almost like a foreign language watching it, picking it up here. But when it was sort of able to sidestep the plot stuff and just focus on the core characters and their relationship to each other, and just all the continent hopping and just characters appearing in their each other character's world, you're just quickly reminded of why it's such a special show. There's another glorious orgy scene.
Oh yeah.
Calls back to the infamous one from season 1.
One of the key moments in season 1, controversial, and it felt like they just told the world to fuck off because they did it even better. They did it to a grander scale in this Christmas special.
Really?
It was awesome, yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh man, just what they're asking of those actors to do is
yeah, it's pretty painstaking for those actors because they probably have to fly to like all these different locations for just bit parts in the backgrounds of other characters. It must be really intensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very impressive show. Not talked as much about as it should be. Sense8 deserves better.
I agree.
Some really slick fight scenes.
You know what? Sorry, Mike. Were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of shows that deserve better, you guys don't watch Men in the High Castle?
I watched season 1, but then I decided not to.
I have, I've never really given it a good look.
I just wanted to quickly, touch on that. I know the Sense8 Christmas special seems to have snuck up on you guys. Men in the High Castle season 2 snuck up on me, and that's my favorite when I forget about a show that I liked, and then all of a sudden it's the full season is on a streaming service. I would definitely recommend it. I think season 2 is a lot better than season 1, even though I enjoyed season 1 too. Do you guys? Well, Chris, you watched the first season. Do you know anything about it, Mike?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the log line, the plot of it.
So it's Iron Man. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So it's just that stuff interests me so much, and we really. It didn't go in the direction I thought it was going to go in at the end of last year, and we're really digging into. I just love seeing what the world was like, the alternate universe, and it's very cool because that could have been the world, if World War II came out differently, and if Chris is our in-house historian. What's the quote, Chris? If we don't respect history, we're doomed to relive it. That's a paraphrase of the quote.
Yeah.
So really, I think everyone should watch Man in the High Castle. I loved it.
Have you finished the whole season?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yep. Was it 10 episodes?
Yeah, it was 10. And they also do. They've pumped up the extras for this season, so they had like a pretty good what happened last season video for me watching. Then after every episode. So sort of like an HBO style inside the episode.
Oh, I love those.
Wow.
Where they sort of talk about what was happening and all that sort of thing. But no, Man in the High Castle, very cool. I won't give any spoilers here, but I hope everyone checks it out. I would highly, highly recommend it. Chris, another special. Garfunkel and Oates?
Garfunkel and Oates, yes. Just a quick Netflix comedy special. Kate McCucci and Ricky Lindholm are the comedy team behind Garfunkel and Oates. That's their name. They had a short-lived IFC show that was really great.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I never saw it, but...
All right. Apparently not a lot of people did. But really fun musical comedy. Just some comedy songs and some comedy interspersed. And yeah, go check it out on Netflix.
So they just took two famous musicians' names and made it their comedy team title?
I guess so.
You don't know any insight into whether that's the case?
Well, that probably is the case, but I don't know any background for sure.
Okay, you never saw that show, Mike?
I think it's on Netflix too. I think it's only 8 episodes, and there's only one season, I think.
I wanted to talk about one thing, and really we need to put the pressure on Mike here. He hasn't watched... He's not caught up with DS.
No. I'm a few behind.
I didn't know DS was going to have a mid-season finale, but here we are. And I hope that you'll catch up and watch the DS mid-season finale. Huge
I agree.
ending.
It's something I need to do.
Know what? Lots of frustration, but huge ending. And, you know, that bastard, what's his name?
Kirkman?
No. Kirkman's a good man. McLeish.
Oh,
McLeish, that's right. That name? I forgot about McLeish.
What's going to happen with him? Something big happens, Mike.
Is he like a focal point of this big thing that happens?
He's a big part of what's going on. What's the are you a couple episodes back?
I'm 3 back.
Oh my God. You've missed some stuff. No, I'll say to all the DS faithful out there, that episode wasn't the best, but it was a big one. It was a big moment, and for all the fans out there, I think we'll be...
Do you think it will finally convince the federal government to relocate their operations outside of Washington, D.C.? Maybe to a more secure, unknown location?
I'll say this. That topic was finally touched upon.
Really?
Wait, I have a prediction for the big reveal.
It really was, but yes, Chris.
Is there finally a vice president?
Well, Chris, the whole, all of this is drama around this guy that is supposed to become the vice president.
Oh, okay.
Of course he is.
So all that time you guys were complaining, when's the vice president? They knew.
No, then
they
it
knew
came out.
all along.
Then
they
then
took
started
their sweet
talking about
time
it.
bringing up the fact that he did not have a vice president. There was no plan of succession for like 5 episodes.
There's a conversation that happens in the episodes that you missed, Mike, where it's finally stated, it's not safe here. It's not and they sort of draw back on a conversation that they claim happened previously, where they said, do you remember when we were going to move into the White House and we were discussing if it was safe? This is all.
That never happened on screen.
And then they said, I don't think it's safe anymore. It's not safe here. And then their discussion is, where do we go? Who can we trust? That's sort of where it goes.
Wow.
But yeah, big time thing happens. Big time.
I'm intrigued. You sold me.
He's back.
It's just a matter of carving out the time, maybe.
Almost 3 hours.
Oh, God.
Not that I can't find 3 hours. It's not doing something else in my spare time and devoting it to DS. That's the challenge.
I'm sitting around it's the battle that we all go through.
Yeah.
Should we sit around or should we watch DS? Because
the eternal struggle.
Sometimes there's not that much of a difference.
I'm pretty deep in this Minecraft world right now. That's where a lot of my free time is being spent.
You guys play Minecraft?
There's a recent update, which I guess wasn't that big, but it got you guys back.
Where you remember that world, Jeff? My city world.
The world.
Where you have baseball?
Channel the baseball station.
You guys are still in that world?
Oh yeah,
that was 2 years ago.
I know. There have been quite a few big time additions.
Wow, I'll have to drop by. I'll have to drop by at some point. That's funny. And know what? I was gonna touch on Madam Secretary, just really quickly. Madam Secretary, I think those of you that watch, we never really have a situation where any of the lead characters are really in danger. But we had sort of a big thing happen on a recent episode. I don't know if you guys care if we have any spoilers here, but one of the main characters,
freely, please.
The chief of staff, has a heart attack, and it's been unclear if Chris has this look on his face like he's actually concerned about this.
Big deal.
That's just his default sick face.
It's been unclear how he's going to be. I'm a big fan of Madam Sec, Taya Leone, but it's been pretty cool, and I was thinking that Madam Secretary was going to have a mid-season finale too, but we're just keeping on trucking right along with
That's not the CBS way.
Right into the new year.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But I thought that was interesting that we sort of had a main character be in. What I thought it was really like the first instance. Like we've had, we've had legit things that seem like legit danger happen. Like there was a situation at the end of the first season where I think it was the end of the first season where a limo exploded, and it was unclear if who was in the limo, if it was one of our main characters. But this one I really felt like he could actually die. So I'm not sure.
Well, we'll all have to say a prayer for him. Yeah. Keep him in our hearts.
He's I'm forgetting his name, but you would probably know him. He's a bald guy.
I know that. I think I know that actor. It's a very difficult name to pronounce.
I'll see. I actually really enjoy it. Like at the beginning of the series, it was unclear whether he was like a bad guy. Yes. Selchko Ivanek.
Sure.
Has he been in other stuff that you've watched?
He was on True Blood.
X-Men Apocalypse. He played a Pentagon scientist.
Wow.
12 Monkeys. Isn't that something that you guys watched?
No,
Why do I know that
the movie.
show?
It was a movie.
Yeah, I've definitely seen something about 12 Monkeys.
Movie.
But anyway, yeah. He's I like him. Not as much as Talione, but we also wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about a couple of movies that we saw here over the break. A couple of big ones. We had the biggest of big, the new Star Wars movie, and then another awards contender, Manchester by the Sea, that I know we all saw. Why don't we talk a little bit about Rogue One?
Yeah.
What were your guys' initial thoughts?
I know Mike loved it.
I loved it, yeah. I wrote a very favorable review up on ScreeningClub.com.
Yes.
I read that, yeah.
I liked it, didn't love it. I think I gave it a 3.5 star. What'd you think, Jeff?
I liked it a lot. I liked it even better. I saw it a second time, and I liked it more, too. I thought it was really good. It was it was so cool that I don't think we should be judging it as a Star Wars movie,
Sure.
Like, it was really a war movie, like a battle movie in and of itself.
Yeah, on its own merits, it really was like its own unique special thing. But just as also like in the realm of Star Wars canon and lore, I mean, I thought it was great in that regard as well. Like it tied together so well with the original Star Wars movie, A New Hope.
And we'll just say now we will have. I'm going to say a couple things that are spoilers.
Sure.
So if anyone's listening, please turn back now if you don't want to hear spoilers for it. But Mike, sorry, please continue your thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I'll just talk a little bit more specifically about it. I really loved what it was able to do with the sort of unexplored backstory of really the entire original Star Wars saga. And I really liked the new characters it was able to introduce. I thought the ties to the original trilogy were also awesome, just as a huge fan of Star Wars. So, yeah.
What do you think, Chris? Why didn't you like it as much as you think you might have?
I think the characters were my problem. None of them really felt particularly memorable or fleshed out. There weren't really any. I don't want to feel like I'm shitting on it because I know you guys. I did like it, but there weren't really character arcs to be had.
Come on. The character of Jyn Erso went through a significant character arc. Whether or not you liked her or identified with her is another thing, but I don't think you can say that she didn't undergo a character arc.
What's her character arc?
The redemption, the
redemption.
Not the approval of her father, but sort of to make up for the sins of her father.
You have a little girl
To fulfill her own father's legacy, in a sense.
It was very at such a young age to be torn because of a war that they had no control over, that to be torn away from her family and have her father forced to work for this power that's causing all of this grief and suffering, and her thinking that her father's a piece of shit too, and then to get so to sort of be forced into getting back in touch with him, and then getting so close to being able to be back together and having some closure there, and then never happened. You know?
Yeah.
I think there were multiple good characters in there. Her, I forget the name of the main.
And male. I think people are holding the movie to such kind of an unfair standard. Like, if you go back and watch A New Hope, I mean, we don't. Wouldn't say that we know or get to know our three core characters all that well, really, in that first movie. Like, sure, there are parts of them that we sort of learn about and identify with, but it's really over the course of the trilogy that we fall in love with them. This movie only had 2 hours to introduce this cast of characters, and I think what they were able to do with a lot of them was just perfectly fine. I had no problem with it. They weren't the most fleshed out or in-depth characters that we've seen, but I think it was good enough in that regard. And everything else around that work was great enough.
Well, I guess maybe it would be to ask Chris, since Star Wars, like you just mentioned, really isn't about that, like about maybe having the most fleshed out character. Like, do you like the other Star Wars movies, or would you say it's on par with those, and you just don't really like? So you thought this was lesser than those?
Yeah. I thought it was
all of them.
No, not all of them. I just, like I said, it was good. It just wasn't great.
How cool was it seeing the Darth Vader scenes? Were so cool.
I loved Darth Vader. I loved Ben Mendelsohn, who played I forget his name, the director.
He did a great
really,
job.
The main bad guy was terrific. But that final Darth Vader scene took my breath away.
It's the scene of the movie. Actually, I thought when they died during the explosion, it was just so.
The last act of that movie is near flawless.
It really just thinking about how they were just this small part in this huge saga, and just that there was all these other stories that we're gonna get a piece of now, right? But it really was cool watching. They did their job, and they just accepted that they were their time was done. And then, oh man, when you hear that lightsaber come out in that dark hallway, that was so cool. And that was prime time Darth Vader. Like, I think that right there was like the most powerful Darth Vader ever was, like at that time, because like he had already made the transition and had sort of been like building up his power before and then the other stuff happens and he ends up all of that happens. But like that is like highest skill level fighting Darth Vader. Like that was insanity, and just like there's like 20 people in that hallway.
Just
just
mowing
like
through them. His use of the Force there was very skillful.
I thought it was really cool. I might be thinking of A New Hope. But yeah, because those are the only two Darth Vader scenes, right? When the two scenes.
Main scenes. I guess there was, prior to that, he was in another like shorter scene, but the two main ones were on that lava planet with Ben Mendelsohn, and then this final scene.
It was just like, because at this point, right, like even like most everyone on what are they in the Imperial on the bad side.
Yep.
Like no one really believes in the Force at this point, right? Like everyone, because it's it's like a dead art,
right, yeah.
Like at this point when this movie is happening, like Darth Vader is just like, he is like the one, like he is just like this crazy guy that could use all these powers and stuff. Like it really is crazy to think about it, like what those people must have been thinking in that hallway for this dude to just come out and he's just.
They're just passing that floppy disk down, down the line.
And then, of course, Carrie Fisher, fake Carrie Fisher in the movie, but then she passed. But that was sad. Makes you think about. I mean, I know they're already done filming the new Star Wars movie, but
thank God.
But do you think? I mean, if she doesn't die in that movie, there might be a huge space for them to fill if she was planned to be in next movies. You know,
I'm just so relieved. I'm so relieved that she had completed all of her scenes for episode 8. And who knows where they leave her at the end of that movie. That's going to be interesting.
I think they'll just write her out.
Well, obviously they'll write her out, but I wonder if they had big plans for her.
I don't know. They might not write her out.
But I mean, like,
no, I don't think we'll have.
Yeah,
I don't think they would do that.
But I think she won't die. I think they'll be like, oh, she went.
Yep.
Blah blah blah.
And I have a feeling that they're gonna honor her in some way in episode 9. They may kill her off screen. Yeah, Princess Leia. She might die off screen, and that would be a way for them to honor Carrie Fisher.
I think there's like a 50-50 shot that she dies in the movie, though. So
sure.
It's always possible. Yeah.
That's going to be hard. That's going to be really hard for people to watch, seeing like the literal death of Princess Leia after this.
Not as hard to watch as that CG in the final scene of Rogue One, though. That wasn't.
That was pretty rough.
It wasn't great. I do think they relied way too heavily on CGI of the two characters.
You know what? The second time I watched it, though, you know, Princess Leia really did wear like a ton of makeup. So really, like, I was thinking the first time I saw it, like, that looked sort of fake. But then I was like, really, like, in the original movie, like, from what that scene is supposed to be like, she had the makeup caked on pretty good. So, like, it really did look pretty close to that.
I didn't think she looked as bad as Tarkin throughout, who they really should have gone with the less is more approach with, because I think the technology or the failures of that technology were exposed by showing him as often as they did.
I thought the opposite. I thought that she was worse, and the delivery of that line was also like cheesy to me, and the line wasn't good either. Like, it was just sort of this mixture.
It wasn't necessary. They could have just shown her from behind, or they could have shown her from the side. It didn't need to be like a close-up shot of her face. And I kind of wish they took that same approach with Tarkin. Could have been shown from behind, or in the reflection of the window, or
I actually thought
silhouette.
That was pretty great. Like, the only thing that sort of irked me with him a little bit was like some of the mouth stuff. Like, the mouth just always looks on.
But it was really noticeable, and they really leaned heavily into it.
His eyes looked very dead.
Yeah.
I thought it looked pretty good to me. I wouldn't have even known. Maybe
the beauty of an all CG character is that, like, 20 years from now, in the 25-year anniversary of Rogue One, they can redo all the CGI.
That would be good. I would be not opposed to that.
Yeah.
I think it was the like little mouth twitch thing.
Didn't look great.
But anyway, yeah.
Better than Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy.
That's true.
That was like the first big.
But that was only like one scene though. This was like
what, in Tron?
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges was in a lot of that.
I know,
movie.
but when he's in Tron, when he's in the world of Tron, you can believe it a little bit because it's like you're inside. But he's inside of a computer, dude. I was like, all right, this
that wasn't the intention.
The only
though.
Scene that I didn't.
They wanted that to look as real as they could.
I love Tron.
What about Robert Downey in Iron Man?
That looked really good.
Well, but also that was part of a computer generation.
That is true. Chris is more willing to make excuses for these things.
He literally is a CG character in that movie, in the context of the movie.
Still, can I just say, why was Princess Leia there? Just like in the whole scope of things.
For you to be like, whoa, Princess Leia.
Like, why? What was her mission?
Like, I know why she was there, but why would you have such an important person at such a crazy battle?
Well, they actually talked about it briefly. Do you remember?
Her father.
Her father needed someone to reach out to the last remaining Jedi on the desert planet Tatooine.
Yes, I
Obi-Wan,
remember that.
and that was sort of her mission. Someone he could trust to locate him.
Yeah, but why was she at the battle with the Death Star and with Darth Vader there? Why would they bring her there, this very important person?
Because she was supposed to retrieve the plans.
Yeah, why would they send her, who's like the most important person, just to go and get a disc? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm talking about just in the general Star Wars. That doesn't make any sense. Because you have, like, the most important person, or one of the most important, a senator, who's, like, one of the top people in this fight, and you go send her to the front of, like, a shitty battle where everyone's dying. Like, that's a bad idea.
Maybe.
It'd be like if... like we have this very horrible battle in the
Gotta
Middle East.
let's
Get Obama there. Like we have to pick up this intel. Let's get Obama to the front line. I want Obama himself to be handed the intel disc. Like that's what that.
I don't know
was.
if her role would equate to President of the United States.
It also is.
I
like
get what you mean.
It also is. It's a ragtag
George.
rebellion, so they don't have the best chain of command. But if you want to talk about plot holes. What about in the beginning? I love Mads Mikkelsen, so I mean he was amazing in this. But if his plan all along was to, the Death Star's good. Jeff is laughing, right? If his plan all along was okay, I'm just gonna build the Death Star, and then I'm gonna build in this weakness because it's gonna be built anyway.
Yeah,
which is that's a great line. I love that idea.
Okay.
Why did he make his? Why didn't they just go along with it from the beginning when Ben Mendelsohn came down? Why did his wife have to die? And
because she threatened him with a gun.
Well,
but if that was the plan, why not just go peacefully? And
but
then
it wasn't the plan. At that
He
point.
didn't want to.
It wasn't the plan at that point.
He
'cause they
did
had
not
left.
want
at
to
the
go
point,
with them.
But when Ben Mendelsohn comes
He had
down,
no choice.
you know you're done. You send off Jin. There's no reason for the wife to
Tell
pull
his
out a
wife
gun.
to come out with a gun. He didn't want her to.
I know I'm saying it's unrealistic why she did that.
Well, she wasn't the
I
smartest.
think you're splitting hairs here.
I don't
No,
think
but
that's splitting hairs.
I see what you're saying, but the thing is, they wanted to escape. Then I think this plan he came up with when it was clear that he had to go back.
Okay, I guess
think
so.
That's what that was. Also, gotta love like Darth Vader, like in the equivalent of like a taking like a nice bath, like a Darth Vader bath in his big vertical tub.
Yeah.
And like, oh, it was so cool. Like you could see it was like a bit younger. Like like he was right in that prime time zone.
Although his voice has noticeably aged like 30 years.
He's making puns.
Darth Vader
like the
always
pun.
though, like when you look back on it and knowing what's his name, the extremely famous voice actor
James Earl
Jones. Oh yeah, Mike has a connection with James Earl Jones. Like looking back now, I feel like even when you watch the original movies, it's just like weird because it's James Earl Jones talking.
James Earl Jones is getting up there in age. They better get all that they need from him. Before it's too late.
Cool. That Darth Vader scene was so cool. The second one.
Yes, it was.
It was. And it isn't like that exact scene in A New Hope. Like
It's akin to
The tail end of it, like a continuation of it.
No,
Who
doesn't
knew
he
that's
fight
what
the
Darth
people?
Vader was doing before he
I know, but it's
appears
not the
on
same
screen
hallway.
in A New Hope?
Why was Darth Vader's cape waving in the vacuum of space when he stood on the dock there and watched the ship fly away?
Who knows? Maybe there was.
I haven't thought about
there
that.
Was an air release.
Okay, let's talk about another epic space film, Manchester by the Sea.
Yep.
So I saw this, and you both saw it.
Huh?
Yeah.
And I know you loved it, right, Mike? I've seen your or was it Chris's review?
It was my review on the site.
Yeah.
But Chris reviewed it on his Letterboxd page.
Yep. I loved it as well.
On would you give it 5 out of 5 stars?
I would.
I did.
Yeah. You can tell from this conversation, Jeff does not feel the same way.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. And,
Did you like Rogue One better or worse?
definitely like Rogue One better.
Interesting.
But why specifically Rogue One, Chris?
Because we just talked about Rogue One.
Okay. Well, I don't have to share my thoughts first. Please share.
Well, we talked about it on the last pod a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, I think it was before you had seen it. So
I think
Our
you
favorite
only
things.
very briefly.
Totally very briefly.
please, I'd love for you to lead us off.
Okay, this movie was, first of all, it was too long. Can you guys at least agree it was too long?
I disagree.
I never felt that while watching it.
I'm also very sensitive to things being too long. I did not feel about that.
When I'm thinking it was too long, I'm thinking, did we need like 45 solid minutes of just like watching the teenager try to get laid?
But what you're really
like
doing
in multiple different scenes?
But what you're really doing is watching someone try to cope with the death of their father in their own way.
Well, great. Then we can have it be 5 hours long, and you can use that as the reason.
Well, obviously I didn't feel it was excessive, but you did. Different opinion.
I don't think he was trying to cope with the death of his father when we had like 3 different scenes. Okay, he's going to the girl's house. Okay, we're 15 minutes in. Okay, one scene, great. Okay, he's a typical teenager. They do that stuff. Okay, round 2. Casey Affleck, can you come in the house with me this time so we can have another excruciatingly long scene about me with this girl? I don't know. I'm gonna stare at you like I do during the whole movie and be awkward. Okay, well, let's go inside the house and have a 30-minute pointless scene again. With that being said, I thought there were some nice moments. I would give it maybe, like, it was a better movie than on the scope of movies, it was on the good side of movies to me. But it was too long, and the whole movie was just, let's throw out every... Okay, this is what the movie is. Let me just say this. It's too long. It's 2.5 hours of, let's throw out every horrible thing that can possibly happen to make everyone feel horrible, and throw in some lighter moments, and then we can just say that it's unconventional and raw, and that's why we should all have Oscars now. Like that's all it is, and it was okay. Like when it ended, I was just like, I'm really sick of being here watching this, but it was okay. If it was like 40 minutes shorter, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. There was a lot of fluff, a lot of like tragic fluff, but not even that. Actually, there was a lot of just pointless stuff. Just like just watching Casey Affleck sit there. Couple great lines though when the kid says, "You gonna shoot me or you with that gun?" That was a good line. You guys are in awe.
Well, no, I'm letting you finish.
Okay. No, and then I mean, yeah. So that's what I would say. I think we're just going to get a bunch of, this is unconventional and real and raw, and that's why we have to say a movie that's not that good is great, because it was like, it didn't have a great story. It didn't have. I thought the acting was okay. Like Casey Affleck was pretty good. Some of the secondary characters were really bad. Like basically, women in this movie just function as like the people that people are trying to have sex with, or like, oh, the women are supposed to be very sad. And a lot of the women in this movie, I felt like, did not do a good job. Like they should have. The acting could have been a lot better. Like, one that stands out to me is when they go and Casey Affleck's trying to get a job at whatever he goes to, a couple places, and then he's talking to like the main guy, and he's like, "Oh, when the guy gets back, can you just let him know that I'm interested?" And then the woman comes out and like really like, "I don't want to see him around here again." Like, it's just like there was lots of like little parts like that I just felt like weren't good, and it just sort of took me out of it. And in general, like, I just like Casey Affleck was just like, okay, like it was like, okay, you're a weird guy that's gone through a lot, so you're gonna act weird, you know. But I did like a lot of it. It was just excruciatingly long, and they were just like trying to throw every tragic thing that they could at us. But if it was a lot shorter and they sort of told the story better, like there wasn't really a story. Like I know that's supposed to be like the whole gimmick of the movie, right? Like this is real and raw, so it's just gonna like sort of begin and end, you know? Like there was not like a story. I guess it was supposed to be like the Casey Affleck living through all the horrible things.
No, there definitely was a very powerful story at the center of this, and it was the story of these two very damaged souls, lost in life, coming together to try and fix whatever brokenness that exists between them or within them. And the movie didn't definitively answer whether or not they would by the end, but it sort of leaves off with the hope that they would.
The kid was a damaged soul? Sorry. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kid who had lost his father and was abandoned by his mother. That was a huge contributing part of his arc throughout the movie that I think is also really prevalent in understanding his really his entire personality. So when you say that we probably didn't need the 40 extra minutes devoted to him trying to sleep with girls in his school, I think that's true, but they did help us in our understanding of him as a character, as well as just deepen our awareness of what he was going through with his father and his mother. So in that respect, I disagree.
But you agree that we didn't need them?
Probably not, but it helped us in our understanding of him as a character. And I think it really was a two-part story with him and Casey Affleck's character. So in that side of things, I think it was necessary, and I didn't think it was too much. I was really captivated by it.
What like was the story beyond like them slowly revealing what had happened, and then Casey Affleck planning like the funeral and stuff?
The story was of him coming to terms with the significant loss of losing his entire family, while at the same time trying to heal and provide for his nephew who's going through something similar. And I think through his relationship with his nephew was a means of healing and getting better in however way he could. And that was like the real crux of the story.
But we don't even know if that happened, right?
The movie, I love that the movie didn't definitively answer one way or the other.
Unconventional.
What?
It's unconventional.
It's not.
Well,
It's not good.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into like a conventional box in that sense. But that is life. You never know.
But other than it being raw and unconventional, and that's the excuse for it not telling a good story.
It's not an excuse.
Like,
It's
what
the way
happened?
It
they
did
feel.
tell a great story.
But what happened? We didn't even get a story.
It didn't slap on a pretty bow at the end, though.
No, we didn't even get a story.
We did get a great story.
We just found out what happened. These horrible things that kept on happening. Got 40 minutes of a teenager trying to get with the girl, and then nothing happened at the end.
What are you talking about? He left his nephew with the family friend.
But it was unclear, like, even if that was going to happen, right?
It was left off at the end that he tried, and he ultimately could not fill the shoes of his dead brother. He couldn't do it. He didn't have the strength to do it, so he did the best he could, in fulfilling his brother's wishes,
That was the
leaving his
situation at the
brother,
beginning of the
leaving
movie.
his son with his friend.
Are you describing the beginning or the end? Because that's how he was at the
movie
beginning.
was him trying, and then he realized he couldn't beat it, so he set up his thing with his family friend.
He didn't even try though. He
did
just said,
try.
"I'm not going to do it."
No, he definitely tried. He lived with him for I don't know. I don't remember the time span.
Yeah, he
And
tried,
then the
he
kid
tried
kept
to get
saying,
a
"Why
job,
can't you stay here? Why can't you stay?" I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that.
And he
I can't."
realized he wasn't up for it.
When did he? There was no point when he was up.
At the end, when they're at the table and they have a discussion about what his future's going to be.
At what point did Casey Affleck go? Like, what changed in Casey Affleck? He didn't come and support the kid. He didn't move.
He tried.
When did he try? He kept saying he's not going to try.
He got there, and then they were going to sell the boat. They were going to do all these things, and then he realized that he couldn't.
He never said. He realized that he couldn't what?
He couldn't be the father figure that his nephew needed.
At what point did he think he was going to be a father figure?
He tried. He was going to move there, and then they were going to.
He was going to
live
move
together.
there?
That was the original plan, and that's when he was trying to figure out if that's what he was going to do.
I remember the plan was brought up. He said, "I didn't know about this plan. I'm not doing this."
Yeah.
And then what changed? Then he didn't do it, right?
Yeah, and then he realized that he wasn't able to do that,
But what do you mean he realized? He, right at the very beginning, said, "I'm not doing it."
and yet he went through living with him. and
He
trying
lived
to
with
set
him
up
for
a system.
months.
Yeah, and he tried to get a job in town.
Months?
Yeah,
I think
so.
you're oversimplifying his emotional journey here.
It was a very simple movie.
Well,
like
we
nothing happened.
We disagree on that.
There are so many layers packed into this here that I think you're kind of glossing over.
Okay, so, but beyond, had a bunch of tragic events.
Well, I mean,
Like, I would love for us to have, like, dived deeper into these things and actually, like, tell a story surrounding these events rather than just be, like, what we got, which was watching Casey Affleck be weird for two and a half hours. Like, I think that if it was told in a different way, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Like, it was a interesting idea for a movie. The idea of having to watch these people struggle through these things. But we really didn't get, like, anything. It was really excruciating, and it was painful.
sorry you feel that way.
Well, you agree it was painful, right?
No, not at all.
You don't think it was a painful
It
movie?
was I think we.
Pain-
I think
painful
we're
in a
saying,
sense.
I think
It
we're,
was a painful.
I think we're
Extremely- it was-
talking about pain.
Certain scenes were extremely difficult to watch.
Yeah.
Painful in the best way, in that it was able to evoke you and make you identify with the situation.
It was a rough movie.
I thought it was a terrific movie. I thought Michelle Williams was tremendous in that final scene with Casey Affleck.
His ex-wife.
Gretchen Mol, Kyle Chandler's ex-wife, I love her. She was great as well.
Bueller.
Bueller.
Yeah.
I loved that scene. That scene told such its own, like, sort of unique side story, and I kind of like that it but it sort of touches on it briefly, but without delving too deeply into it. Like, you understand that there is something, like, deeply disturbed about this situation, but it sort of throws it at you and walks away.
I think I was talking to Chris about this, but is that supposed to be like he was a very controlling person? Is that what that was? Because then, like,
Yeah.
the kid gets an email from him.
Yeah.
Is that what that means? Because I didn't know if that meant the mother decided she didn't want to be in
Both
his
that,
life.
like, he views her as sort of like this reclamation project for himself, and just sort of shows us what her current frame of mind is, and that she was in some ways she is better. She still has a long way to go before ever sort of getting to a place where she could have a sustainable relationship with her son.
That movie was pretty good. I don't want to. I just felt that some things needed to be said because that was like an excruciating movie for like the wrong reasons to me. But it was Like, it was, I enjoyed it overall. But it could have been a lot better, is all I think.
I loved it for what it was, and I think just using the word unconventional to describe it isn't a bad thing. It was, and that's sort of part of its appeal, and is that it was this meditation on loss and grief and redemption, unlike anything we typically see, and that's part of why I loved it so much.
I think we don't see it because
it told just a really great, sad, memorable story about two very sad people. Yeah, that's why I liked it.
I'm going to be sort of disappointed if that movie gets much
Casey
more
Affleck, I think, deserves that Oscar.
Oh, come on. He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. He did so much with so little.
I know. That's like the excuse for this whole movie.
Well,
like nothing happened.
It's easy to just point at something and say that's the excuse.
It's also easy just to point at something that sucks and say it's unconventional.
Sucks.
You're doing the exact same thing again.
You just said it was pretty good.
I'm using the extremes like Chris was just using. Painting with a broad brush.
I'm saying
you didn't say the movie sucked. I'm saying it's easy to point at something that sucks and say it's unconventional. The movie was okay, in my opinion.
My opinion, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
My favorite of the year.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it might be it's definitely up there. It might be my favorite of the year.
Come on. It's not. It wasn't very good.
Well, we feel differently, Joe.
I'd really like to talk more about this so I can come to a better understanding, but I know we've spent a lot of time on this on our TV podcast. But yeah, I'll just be. You can't say when an actor comes out and gives a truly awesome performance, and then say that Casey Affleck in this movie was anywhere close to there.
Talk about painting with a broad brush.
What broad brush? I'm saying, look at, like,
he sold that character's misery, his grief, his pain. I thought so exceptionally well, in such a understated way. Like, you felt every decision he made, every movement he made was influenced by the tremendous loss and pain that he felt, and I thought he conveyed that exceptionally well, in such a variety of different ways. Like in one instance, he is this very quiet, sort of awkward state, but in others, he releases that anger in other ways. So
this movie was at least 33% like a teenage drama, with us just having to watch. Like, and no, I'll say I really didn't like what's the first girlfriend, the first one that was in the house. I'm talking about I'm like
neither did Casey Affleck.
Yeah, well, I thought it was so rude that she came out and like I think it was like a power move when she came out and put those placemats down. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then tells Casey Affleck that the kid doesn't need to hear this conversation. You just came and sat down at the table. Casey Affleck was just minding his own business at the breakfast table. She wanted to come out and be like, "This is just normal for me. I just come to this house and have breakfast here. You're an intruder, you know." Neither of you can have a conversation about the scenes in the movie because you're mad at me for what I think about.
No, I just don't feel that strongly about that.
Yeah.
Well, we got like 45 minutes of it of us having to deal with the kids' girlfriends. So I hope you have
not that much time.
It really was. I think if we really analyze the movie, we got over 30 minutes of that.
Sure, and I think a lot of that was in the service of better understanding that character, who was extremely vital to the movie. In that regard, it was worth it.
But you both have no comment when I talk about the scenes.
I agreed with you.
Okay. It was a movie. That's for sure.
Damn straight.
But anyway, sorry everyone that tuned in for the TV stuff, but those were two big things. And we know we know that you're tuning in to hear the differing opinions, right? So I hope everyone enjoyed that. Maybe hearing once in a while someone that doesn't just blindly agree with the critics.
I know. Everyone seemed to love Rogue One.
Did they?
You two did for sure.
I thought it was really good. All right. Everyone, next week we're going to have a lot more to talk about. And maybe, I would like to talk about movies every now and then.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll see what to do. And I think we might have
hopefully I see La La Land before next week, so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely see that if you like musicals.
Definitely was a musical.
La La Land. Let's talk about that later, because La La Land, I thought. Well, I won't say anything. Okay, so we can talk about that after Mike sees it. But in the meantime, guys, where can they visit you guys online, Mike?
ScreeningClub.com and on Twitter @linguistics_.
How about you, Chris?
Twitter.com/ThatMorris and ScreeningClub.com. I just put up my top 10 games of the year. Check that out.
That's a good article, although I felt there was one or two missing pieces there.
Yeah, I can't play everything.
Was there no VR there, Chris?
I don't have a VR helmet.
Okay.
That's it.
Fair enough, and I saw that you gave that disclaimer at the beginning of the article that it's only the games you've been able to play. Mm-hmm. But really good stuff coming from both Chris and Mike on the website, so make sure to check that out at ScreeningClub.com. As always, you can share your comments or thoughts with us, ScreeningClub@gmail.com. Please remember to rate and subscribe if you love or hate us, but mostly if you love us, please, and let us know what you think. And in the meantime, guys, 2017. It's a whole new year.
Let's do it.
And we're gonna have a lot of fun this year. So we'll catch you guys next time. And until then, enjoy your TV watching.
God bless.